Hey everyone, we're just going to give everybody a second to log in here and then we're going to get started. All right, well, today's presentation is hosted by Viscosity and the New York Oracle User Group. You're going to meet Coleman here in a second if you're not already familiar with Coleman and myself. But I'm just going to go over a couple quick things as y'all are all logging in and getting comfortable. Today's webinar is live, so feel free to submit questions to our presenter in the question or chat prompts you'll see. Also, if you need anything else, you can chat me directly. If you need anything like logistically about the webinar, if you want more information about viscosity, which I'll go over in a bit, you can reach me there. Otherwise, please use the Q&A for our presenter questions. All right, so my name is Monica Lee. I'm the marketing director here at Viscosity North America, where our mission is to enable business transformation at a time when companies must change to survive. And we are a full Oracle Stack consulting firm, and you'll hear a little more about that later. But first, I'm going to turn it over to Coleman from NYOUG, and he's going to tell us a little bit about their organization.
Thank you, Monica. So the New York Oracle Users Group was formed almost 40 years ago for the exchange of ideas, assistance, and support among users of the Oracle software products. And we're always looking and available for abstracts to be presented in our group, nyoug.org/nyoug-abstracts. And we'll go for the next slide. There we go. You can connect with us on Twitter, Meetup, and of course the abstracts, NYOUG call abstracts, LinkedIn, Facebook, and our website. All you have to remember is nyoug.org, and everything else is there. And I want to thank Viscosity North America for co-hosting these series of webinars with us. It's been going over 2 years right now, and we look forward for the next year. And thank you, Monica, and thank you, Charles, for presenting today.
Thanks, Coleman. Yes, it's been a great couple of years doing these webinars with NYOUG. So those of you who are always here with us, I'm just going to go over, these slides, but real quick, I'll make it quick. All right, so Viscosity is built on these 3 pillars you see here: data, apps, infrastructure, cloud. And down to the left side of the screen, you'll see that we offer a variety of different services throughout these 3 pillars. So if anything here interests you, you know where to find me. I'll follow up with you guys after this webinar as well. I did forget to mention earlier, yes, it's being recorded, and yes, you'll have access to the slide deck afterwards, probably sometime tomorrow. We'll get you guys all that information. So again, if anything here looks interesting, we're very well known for our health assessment checks, proof of concepts, training. Lately, we've still been upgrading a lot of folks, and we've also been doing a lot of performance tuning projects. So if anything here sparks some interest, you let me know. All right, right here, we've got all of our aces. What's better than having 5 aces in your pocket? That might be cheating, but we've got these folks who help our clients. They promote Oracle throughout the world, really. They all speak throughout the country and globally. Hopefully you recognize some of them. Maybe you've got some of their books. We've got, I think over 25 or 30 books between everybody. So these guys present regularly throughout Oracle communities, user groups like NYOUG. So if you've got any questions for these guys, I can help you. I can help connect you as well. Also, it's been about a year, but we had AuraPub come onto the Viscosity family the start of this year. So we're super excited about that. This is actually where we host all of our database of webinars like this. So you can actually go here, sign up for a free account. There are paid tiers where you get a little extra, but like today's webinar, you'll be able to log on here and rewatch it. You'll also see a very simple way to grab the slide decks that go along with each recorded webinar. And then last but not least, events page at Viscosity. This is probably your best resource for everything. You can find webinars like this. You can see where we're going to go speak. We are pretty much back to conferences this year. And then obviously we host a lot of things like this with other user groups as well as NYOUG. All right. So with that, I'm going to let Charles get his screen going while I introduce him. Charles's bio, I'm gonna try to summarize for you guys, but Charles has been in the industry for a long time. He is an Oracle ACE director. And I think, Charles, maybe you're still a VMware expert. For a long time, Charles was the only person who held both of these titles. He's an Oracle certified DBA, Exadata specialist, Oracle Linux, all these certifications. He's got rack expert. And he was also selected to be in the ACE program in 2008. So it's been quite a while, and he's been a very well-known Oracle ACE director. So hopefully you guys have seen Charles present at a regional user group or a national user group near you. Charles specializes in Oracle Cloud, Exadata rack virtualization. And he's co-authored, I think we're going on 15 books right now within the Oracle ecosystem alone. We do occasionally give out some of these books, more recently a performance tuning book, which we hopefully will get to travel around and conduct some hands-on labs for you guys. So if you're around, keep up with us and look at that events page I showed earlier. And Charles is actually co-founder and CEO of Viscosity North America. So I'm obviously very excited that he's speaking for us today. And so let's see. Well, over 30 years of Oracle experience. I don't know if I need to update that number, Charles, but it speaks a lot. And I hope you guys enjoy today's webinar. Again, if you're just joining us, today's webinar is recorded. We'll have it on AuraPub for you. I'll send out a link, everything, and you'll also have access to the slide deck. Use the Q&A. If you've got questions for Charles, he'll probably look at them as he goes, or he'll get them all at the end. Enjoy.
All right. Thanks, Monica. Well, thanks everybody for attending my session. Can you guys see my screen now?
Looks great.
Okay, awesome. And so the only thing that I would like to add to my bio that Monica did not mention is that I was the president of the Oracle Cloud SIG for several years. And through it, we used to go around the country doing hands-on labs on Oracle Cloud. And so also from a books perspective, we do have the performance tuning book authored by our very own Oracle ACE Pro, Gary Gordhamer. But as you'll see on the right, we did just release the Upgrading Oracle Database. This is for 19C book. It's available on Amazon. And we have other books in the series coming up. And so this was the highlight for December. In January, we're trying to get Craig Shalahammer to write a book on machine learning. And in February, Sean Scott, another one of our ACE pros, his book on Docker is coming out. Oracle for Docker is coming out with APress. And sometime in Q2, because we are a beta partner with Oracle, and also, as you guys may not know, the ACE directors have access to 23C. And so our goal is to come out with 2 books sometime in Q2. And so obviously one of the books would be Upgrading to 23C, and the other book would be 23C New Features for DBAs. All right, I'm going to just skip through the ACE stuff. We did acquire AuraPub early this year, and as a result of it, we offer training on Ash, AWR, and if you are not aware, Craig does series of machine learning training courses, fundamentals to more the advanced topics, and we just added Apex training to our portfolio as well. And so if you're interested, please contact Monica. Also, one of the books that we have is on pluggable databases. And as you guys are aware, starting in 23C, only single tenant databases are allowed going forward. And as we upgrade to 23C, this book is going to get updated as well. All right, so let's talk about high level agenda. We're going to talk about what was covered, all the new innovations that were announced in Oracle Cloud World in Vegas in October, and some of other innovations that kind of snuck in there. We're going to talk about why upgrading to 19C and now even 23C, because that's going to be imminent in the near future. Talk about hybrid cloud, talk about how the pandemic as well as the economy has influenced cloud adoption, and then continue with Oracle's partnership with Microsoft, and talk about what Gartner is saying about Oracle Cloud. And obviously, multi-cloud is going to be a big focus at the end. All right, so I'm going to actually get off of camera so we can focus on the slides. All right, so Viscosity, back in 2015, we went all in on Oracle Cloud on the Gen 1. We had a lot of battle wounds, we suffered through it, and when OCI Gen 2 came along, we embraced it fully. We're also, as well, from a Amazon, as well as Google, as well as Azure. So we're partners with all 4 cloud, but however, our predominant cloud that we work in is in OCI. Now with the partnership with Microsoft, it has led to a lot of, this multi-cloud Azure connectivity to Oracle. And so we're seeing a lot of that. Right, so let's look at the database roadmap. And so if we were in person right now, I would get a show of hands asking you guys, how many of you guys have already upgraded to 19C? And if you have not, what is your roadmap in the next 6 months to 24 months? But with 23C coming out next year, and we're already a beta, and Oracle has even, asked customers to be beta at Oracle Cloud World, we know for sure that 23C is going to be coming out sometime next year. And so now it changes the upgrade strategy for a lot of folks. And even for people who are 19C, they may think about upgrading to 23C for some of the early adoption of new features that they really want. And so, so stay tuned with the new features of 23C. So in this slide, as you see, all the reds that you see here, they're deprecated. And in fact, even extended support is no longer available. And so right now, the only supported release really is 19C. And so we have a lot of customers still running on older versions like 18C, but 18C is considered to be an innovation release. So there is no extended support available for 18C. And if you are on 21C and you did it because you needed some of the new features like blockchain, then those customers should be upgrading to 23C when it comes out. All right, so as you can see, 19C is offered extended support. This is the long-term support that we're talking about. And extended support is available until 2027. And so with 21C, support is available until April, end of April 2024. And this is kind of crucial too, because it's in April, that means that you're going to be able to apply the latest RU that's going to be offered in April. So you can technically, from a patching perspective, it's good till obviously July. And so 23C is going to be the next long-term release. If you're an EBS customer, EBS customers, just like customers who are on EULA, also get unlimited support as well. So EBS customers who are on 12.1.2 now must be on 19C. And EBS also requires, as you go upgrade to 19C, that you adopt pluggable databases. All right, so let's talk about the Oracle Cloud World new announcements. And so I don't know if you guys are aware, MySQL HeatWave has been the news before OCW. Oracle had MySQL HeatWave and made it available on AWS prior to OpenWorld. And at OpenWorld, they announced that SQL HeatWave will be available on Azure as well. But they also announced MySQL HeatWave Lakehouse. And so I don't know if you guys are familiar with the concepts of a data lake versus a data warehouse and where the lakehouse fits in. So basically they took all the value of the data lakehouse, took all the benefits of a data warehouse, and where we meet in the middle is a data lake house. And so Oracle says that, you know, it's a natural progression for a data warehouse to evolve into a data lakehouse. And so a data lakehouse has all the components of a data warehouse plus machine learning, the ability to ingest unstructured data, the ability to have, you know, exponential growth, separation of storage and compute nodes, and stuff like that. So with a MySQL, you're going to see a lot of marketing on MySQL, especially when it comes to the whole data lakehouse concept. And so one of the key things that Oracle introduced is the ability for us to create a glossary off of our data lake. And so if you look at what we do from an object storage perspective, we actually upload a ton of content to object storage. And that could be structured and unstructured data. And as we upload into object storage, it basically goes into a blob. And so the whole idea now is that we can actually take the data lake itself and catalog. So we have a data lake catalog capability within OCI, and you actually will provide a endpoint for OCI to ingest all the files. And from there, you can go in and define the glossaries. And once you define the glossary, and autonomous databases and also MySQL HeatWave can actually ingest those files. And things like the ability to create an external table, all of that is done for you automatically. And so if you have a CSV file, Oracle, as you synchronize your object storage with your data catalog for autonomous databases, as well as MySQL HeatWave, will be able to ingest the external tables, and you can actually go create tables off of it or even do joins. And so that the lakehouse concept for OCI is, you're going to hear a lot more about it in 2023. Also, Postgres support is really big as well. And so Oracle is going to offer managed Postgres services. But the key thing is that they're going to introduce database aware storage, just like what we have some of the engineering that we have with Exadata. They're going to put some of the engineering in the Postgres as well. At OCW, we had over 13,000 attendees and over 1,200 sessions. And the fundamental difference about Oracle Cloud World this year, because it was Cloud World, most of the sessions were focused on cloud. And so from a GPU and artificial intelligence, Oracle's adding tens of thousands of NVIDIA AI processing chips. And so this, talking about 20,000 GPUs, for example, and the ability to ingest 13 petabits per second of network bandwidth. From a converged database perspective, they're fully embracing MongoDB, and now they're going one step further. And so from a MongoDB application perspective, if it's going to, against a converged database, we're going to have native support. So meaning that no changes to the application. So that's the announcement. Let's see how far they get with the actual innovation. Converged database with 23C. With 23C, we'll get over 300 new features. One of the key things that keeps on being a big topic is JSON duality. So now it's the ability in Oracle to take a JSON schema and be able to transpose that as a relational object. And so now we can issue full SQL against it. And with the JSON, even on a JSON object, we're not only can we use regular SQL, but also have ACID properties, just like all the relational features, but against JSON. We can have, JavaScript as a stored JavaScript now inside the database. There's a offering for partners called Oracle Alloy. So it allows partners to provide to their customers a cloud experience. And so one of the things is that we can, as a partner at our data center, offer Oracle Cloud. So when I say data center, I'm talking about on-premise data center. So if a partner has a big presence on-premise, they can actually provide Oracle Cloud service offerings to their customers. And also with Oracle Alloy, we can package certain components of Oracle Cloud and provide customized solutions for our customers. All right. Golden Gate. So if the database for source or target is less than 20 gigabytes, and it's really intended for people for development testing purposes, but even for production, if the database for source or target is less than 20 gigabytes, Golden Gate is free. And so there's a new edition of Golden Gate available now. All right, let me look at some of these questions here. I'm currently upgrading EBS 12.2. So the question is that with EBS, after they go to 19C, can they go to cloud? Absolutely. And so you could have gone to cloud before. Oracle, from a support perspective in the cloud, if you're on infrastructure as a service, you can go anytime. But obviously, you want to go on a supported platform. And so for you to go to Oracle Cloud, definitely recommend upgrading first and then go to cloud. What is the biggest selling point for 23C? We're actually doing another webinar in January on our favorite 23C new features. And so we can definitely hold off on that question until later. A converged data warehouse, different database. So if you look at autonomous databases are all converged databases. And so within a converged database, you get all the features of relational, but you also get all these other features in autonomous. And one of the biggest things I was telling you about is the ability to ingest data from any cloud, number one, the ability for you to ingest from a data catalog, and to have the AI capabilities and ML capabilities right in autonomous. And so autonomous has numerous artificial intelligence models available. And obviously from a converged database, not only do you get, relational, you also get, spatial, you get JSON database, you get the ability to create hybrid tables. So for example, within a table, I can have one partition be XML, one partition be data dump, one partition be relational. I could have a partition off of HDFS, for example, as well. And so from a hybrid partition external table, we can have a combination of different partitions be of different table types. And so earlier I said XML. It's not XML. It's what is it? It could be off of a flat file. Is what I meant. All right, so Oracle tried the dedicated region prior to Open World. It was super expensive, and customers were not buying it, nor were they buying it. So they've revamped this whole OCI dedicated region, and they made it smaller, cheaper, and more flexible. And while they were doing this, it allowed them to learn more about what customers wanted, but more so how to build more regions. And so now the new dedicated region, for customers, it's minimum 12 racks. It's $1 million per year, fully managed by Oracle OCI. And the whole idea is pay for what you use. And so it's full cloud to the customer and it's dedicated to the customer. I mentioned Oracle Alloy. There also is an option to have the zero data loss autonomous recovery service. So this is the power of ZDLRA. available for Exadata customers, also for database cloud service customers, and also obviously autonomous customers as well. And so now you can have, be protected from cybersecurity attacks, as well as have full compliant security. Oracle also offers in their cloud the full stack disaster recovery service. Now customers can monitor and manage all of the disaster recovery environments for their application, network, middleware, compute from the OCI console. Right, so I mentioned OCI data public beta. And so from a data lake service perspective, it's the ability for us to ingest and to catalog unstructured data, and even structured data as well. So not in addition to CSV files, Parquet files, JSON files, and the public beta is still available until 2023. All right, so as everybody knows, Oracle acquired Cerner, and it's Oracle's largest acquisition ever. Their goal is to accelerate cloud computing with Cerner, and they intend to fully leverage autonomous and the voice digital assistant. And so if you look at it from an Oracle perspective, they're now in the data business, but more so in the healthcare business. And so you'll see Oracle's revenue numbers in the next few slides, but now Oracle's playing in this $3.8 trillion industry now. And so from a data ability to grow perspective, it's unlimited for them. And so, and as soon as Oracle acquires Cerner, guess what? Oracle has now become a competitor to Epic. And so we're starting to see the repercussions of some of these things already. And so we already have a couple of customers already asking us to help them migrate some of their Oracle databases to SQL Server. Oracle Cloud is growing in Q3 of 2022. This is Oracle's Q3. Their revenue grew 24% to $2.8 billion. And cloud is, if you haven't seen, or talked to the Oracle sales reps, it's clearly their focus for everything. Right, so Q1 2023, remember Oracle's Q1 starts in June and it rose 18%. Cloud revenue grew by 45%. And Q2 numbers also, IaaS and SaaS numbers grew to $3.8 billion. So up 43% in the United States. So let's talk about how that compares to the other clouds. And so Larry Ellison contributes this growth predominantly from the multi-cloud interoperability. And with it, they've seen it grow by 50% in US. Larry mentioned in OCW that he expects the cloud business to exceed 20 billion annual revenue by next year. And so let's see how they're going to do this, right? So this is the latest numbers from Oracle and Microsoft, Google, and AWS. As you can see, Oracle Cloud's number 5. Azure, this is quarterly numbers, did 25 billion. Number 2 is AWS, 19.7. Number 3 is Google, 6.3 billion, and Oracle Cloud, 3.6 billion. And Salesforce is number 4, and Oracle is number 5. SAP is 3.1 billion. So Oracle used to be number 6, and so they just recently beat out SAP. Look at Snowflake. Snowflake's 466 million for the quarter. Now let's look at 2021 numbers. If you look at 2021, Oracle went from 2.5 to 3.6. That's a pretty big jump. And so in order for Oracle to get to 20 billion as Larry's hoping, they have to hit a quarterly run rate of 5 billion. And so as you know, most of Oracle's earnings happened in Q4. So these are actually really good numbers. But just to point out, look at Snowflake, which is number 9. They went from 255 million last year to 466 million. That's a really big jump for Snowflake. All right, so going to 2020 Q4, look at Oracle's number, 2.4 billion. Going to Q1. In Q1, they did just annual in 2020. This is when I really started to track the numbers between all these cloud vendors. So in 2019, the number was for the whole year, 7.1 billion. All right, so let's talk about the top 5 reasons why people would go to cloud, Oracle Cloud in particular. And it's because just like any other vendor, Oracle protects their licensing in OCI. So obviously the first reason is hyperthreading, and the second one is RAC is only supported in OCI. So here are the options for database migrations to all the cloud vendors. So in OCI, you can go put your database in IaaS or database cloud service. And by the way, Oracle's the only cloud out there that offers database cloud service as a PaaS offering, but you get full access to the OS. On top of that, you get root access to the OS as well. You can go Exadata Cloud Service in Oracle Cloud, and obviously to Autonomous Database. The Autonomous could be ATP as well as ADW. And for customers who have compliance reasons and cannot go to Oracle Cloud, you have the option to have Exadata Cloud at customer. And so there are not beyond just compliance reasons, there's also latency issues are the 2 main reasons why customers want to stay on premise, but have full cloud capabilities, and that's cloud at customer. And on AWS, obviously you can go Elastic Compute on IaaS. You can do RDS. This will be equivalent to Oracle's DBCS, but in AWS, it's a PaaS offering, but you don't get access to the OS. In Azure, the only option is IaaS. And on Google would be bare metal. From a VMware perspective, VMware has partnered with every vendor, and so you can do VMware on AWS, on Google Cloud Compute, Azure as AVS, and Oracle will be Oracle Cloud VMware Solution, OCVS. So from an Oracle licensing perspective, right? Threads per core. At the very beginning, when there was a lot of talk about licensing on Amazon, some of the recommendations were to disable hyperthreading. But when you disable hyperthreading, guess what happens? 1 vCPU is equivalent to 1 Oracle product license. And so as you go to any cloud or Oracle, a vCPU or thread is not the same. And so let's take an example. And I created this chart actually this morning because I thought it'd be the easiest to show it. And on-premise, if I enable 8 cores, and if I have hyperthreading enabled, that translates to 16 threads. So if you issue top, you'll see 16 virtual processors. And so, but however, with the 0.5 core factoring, 8 cores becomes 4 licenses. On AWS, 8 threads or 8 vCPUs is 4 licenses. Technically, that would be 4 cores. If you have hyperthreading disabled, or multi-threading as this verbiage says, 8 vCPUs becomes 8 licenses. On Azure, 8 vCPUs become 4 licenses. On OCI, just like Oracle, 16 vCPU is equivalent to 4 licenses. And so I provided this document here, and it actually has all the details that you're looking for. Right, so Exadata is a big focus of viscosity, and we're seeing a shift of customers going to the cloud, but also seeing a shift of customers going cloud to customer. In fact, we're doing a huge implementation of ExaCC for a financial company right now. So Oracle announced Exadata X9M and OCI as of April of 2022. So prior to April of 2022, customers were going on 8M. And then somewhere between then and Open World, they kind of shifted only on OCI to AMD chips. And so the on-premise Exadata has 2 sockets and 32 cores. So a total of 64 cores per node, total of 128 cores for the quarter rack. So in their cloud, however, they're sitting with AMD chips with 60 cores per socket and with total of 252 OCPUs for the quarter rack. And so you have double the compute on Oracle Cloud if you're running Exadata Cloud Service. And so there's basic fundamental questions that we need to ask, right? Is that, will Exadata on-premise adopt AMD? And we asked this question to the product management team at Oracle Cloud World, and they don't see that happening, at least not in the foreseeable future. And will Exadata Cloud Customer adopt AMD chips? And again, that's also, at least for now, no. And the concern that a lot of people have is that as I'm moving from on-premise Exadata to Exadata Cloud Service, do I need to take into the performance difference between the two? And so is a workload, a vCPU or core on an Intel chip the same or identical to on the AMD's chips as well? All right, and then last thing is that we have to think about is persistent memory. Remember, the persistent memory was an Intel thing. So we talked about earlier, Cloud Customer. What are the reasons why customers want to stay at Cloud Customer versus going to Exadata Cloud Service? Compliance, latency, integration. Integration could be, I have other ancillary systems that my database talks to. And it's very common for database links to be talking to other databases. And do I need to move all of them at once? And that's typically not an option. And so that's another reason why customers would go with the Cloud ExaCC option, and obviously risk. There are some companies out there that they just don't want to or are not ready to go to cloud yet. So when you're in the ExaCC world, we talk about DOM0, DOM-U, right? Because anything in Exadata Cloud Service or Exadata Cloud Customer, we're talking about a virtualized infrastructure. The DOM-U, which is the OS, the guest OS, is managed by the customer. The grid infrastructure is also managed by the customer as well. But we do not have noisy neighbors and it's dedicated to you. So from a Cloud Customer perspective, soon after it came out, Oracle did reduce the price by 20%. There is a 4-year commit on Cloud Customer. It is cheaper than Exadata. If you look at it from a Exadata plus license included, we've ran this model for all of our customers, especially when they need to buy licensing with it. It's a lot more cost effective for them to buy Exadata Cloud Customer with license included. And that's the same thing with if you're going to Exadata Cloud Service as well, because the licenses for Exadata Cloud Customer also includes the storage software licenses and the support costs as well. All right, so let's talk about support refund. Another reason why customers like to stay or go to cloud is they get this incentive, right? For every $1 you spend in OCI, you get 25 cents back. If you're on a EULA, unlimited licensing, you get 33 cents back for every $1 that you spend. So let's take an example here. A customer who spends $4 million, and I'm choosing this because math is a lot easier. A customer who spends $4 million OCI with an annual $1 million technology support bill will earn $1 million in rewards. So reducing his annual support cost to 0. Now, if he was on EULA, however, he would get back for every million, $333,000. So on a $4 million deal, it would be what, 4 times 3, 1.3 million, 1.4 million. And so those are really good incentives for customers. Next to the Cloud Customer, these are list prices. the key thing is that quarter rack is $10,800. There is a standard $30,000 installation cost. The biggest difference about Exadata Cloud Customer versus Exadata on-premise is the minimum number of OCPUs that you have to license. So on Exadata on-premise, you have to license minimum 14 cores. On the Exadata Cloud Customers for OCPUs. And those minimums are really beneficial for customers who need the license containment. Also with Exadata Cloud Customer, you can archive all your backups to the cloud. And so this is an example with ZDLRA. With ZDLRA, we have fully protected backups, fully encrypted backups that go to the ZDLRA, backup once and incrementals forever, basically. But also the same logic applies for ZFS customers as well. Okay, so let's talk about Oracle VMware Cloud Solutions. And so OCVS. And so, like I said before, VMware Cloud Solutions is offered across all the cloud vendors. But in OCI, it is going to be the most popular. And the reason being is that, I'm going to go to the next slide. One of the biggest reasons why is that Oracle is the only cloud vendor that offers layer 2 networking to VMware. And so we, as a VMware vExpert, I was invited to attend their private demo that they did for vExperts. And this layer 2 networking capability that they're offering, all the VMware admins were like, this is the best thing that happened since sliced bread. And so it allows them to literally do a much simplified lift and shift. They can literally keep the same kind of networking in the cloud as they do in the cloud, as on-premise. And from a layer 2 networking perspective, if you talk to your admins, having that capability is huge. And so enhancements. The storage is a top priority for Oracle Cloud. And so now OCI block storage can be presented as an iSCSI data store. That's huge. You can have a single host. SDDC stands for Software Defined Data Center. And so you can have a single host. And this is great for testing and development, for you to be able to go move your on-premise to Oracle Cloud and then look at the hourly and billing options, monthly billing options. Another big change, just like on the Exadata, they went from Intel to AMD, doubling the number of cores per node. And as a result of it, on the Exadata on-premise, or the Intel chips are bound by 1.5 terabyte of memory. Now we're able to go to 2 terabytes per host. And now with OCI file storage, they can scale secondary storage up to 8 exabytes, and then offering additional security with their shielded VMware. Right, so from a hybrid cloud perspective, we're going to be in this hybrid cloud for a while. And with the VMware solution, this makes the journey significantly easier. And this is the true lift and shift. Literally, I'm taking my VM from on-premise. I can do a vMotion to OCI. And from a application perspective, Oracle's intent is for customers to move their applications to VMware solutions in the cloud. It's not really intended for database workloads. And rack is not supported in Oracle Cloud VMware solutions. And so I get a lot of people asking, why isn't rack supported on VMware on AWS, for example? Well, if they're not going to support rack on OCI on VMware, there's no way Oracle is going to support rack on VMware on Azure or AWS. And so when we talk about sizing from on-premise to the cloud, definitely go through, calculations of performance characteristics of the application server as well as your database server. All right, let's look at some questions. Does it come bundled with Golden Gate? Well, the whole Golden Gate side, there's Golden Gate for customers with the 20 gigabyte that's free Golden Gate, but there's also another utility that Oracle has called zero downtime migration. And so as long as your target is cloud, or let's say Exadata to Exadata even, you can use ZDM for free. Okay, is OCVS available for Oracle Public Cloud Appliance on premise? OCVS would only be available in their cloud because they're the cloud appliance that's on premise. That's going to be more of a KVM, not VMware. I'm going to continue on. I'm going to move a little bit faster. Sorry about that, guys. This is just a sizing exercise that we did. One of our customers has 14,000 vCPUs that they need to migrate to OCVS, and they had to go get 47 Intel hosts, which translated to 3 to 4 million, I think, per year. But now going to AMD, and a lot of it was memory. They can actually shrink that down quite a bit. All right, let's talk about autonomous. In the autonomous world, you as a DBA, do you have relevance in autonomous, or do you have relevance in database cloud service? And so when you're in database cloud service, Exadata cloud service, or even Exadata cloud customer, backups are done for you automatically. So it's we still need performance tuning. We still need exercises in terms of migration efforts, whether you use data pump or whether you use RMAN backup restore or Golden Gate instantiation. DBs are still needed. Now in the autonomous world, it's a little different because you don't get access to the OS. So from a instantiation perspective, you're looking at schemas and tables. And so it'll be either data pump or DBMS cloud packages or Golden Gate or SharePlex. But we will literally be doing a data migration to autonomous, and different roles and the involvement of DBAs will be different. So throughout the years, CEOs at Oracle have always said that, this new feature and this new innovation are gonna leave DBAs unemployed. I remember when OEM first came out, they were saying that it's gonna, change how they perceive the DBA work, and as a result of it, it's going to have DBAs unemployed. The reality is that if you're a niche, if you're in a niche industry and you have the skill sets, there always will be a demand. So we do a lot of autonomous presentations as well. Developers love autonomous. They love it because they don't have to deal with people like me, telling them you can't take that to prod directly. But at the same time, DBAs do need to know about autonomous because it's going to change how we do business. And I'll also do another session, DBA 3.0, where I talk about being more of a data engineer, a data architect, versus being a system DBA. So now if you're an application DBA, you still have a lot of relevance in the autonomous world. And why is that? It's because from a autonomous perspective, self-driving, securing, self-repairing, self-tuning, self-scaling, there's a lot of validity to that. And to provision an autonomous database, it's basically 5 questions. And the hardest part is the password, because Oracle's requirements for, minimum number of, characters for this and that kind of stuff. And so, but from an autonomous perspective, you're talking about hybrid columnar compression is automatically enabled. It's the initialization parameters are tuned for whether it's a data warehouse or a ATP. Things like result cache is automatically enabled. Statistics are automatically gathered. You don't have to create indexes. There's a whole auto indexing algorithm that happens. Same with the partitions. Now, from a auto indexing, we as DBAs do need to know how it works, because there are a lot of times where indexes are created where it's not needed or may still choose the wrong path. And so when it comes to, when you have complex systems, there still has to be DBAs. So again, it comes down to DBAs who are niche in the industry and are very good. There's always a demand. So with autonomous database, I can go create an active data guard. And with that, Oracle promises an SLA of 99.995%. And they use all the technologies, rack rolling upgrades to transient logical standby with DBMS rolling on, EBR with edition-based redefinition, flashback, and everything else, and things like K-splice to be able to reduce downtime for everything. And so with 99.99% uptime, you're talking about 26 minutes and 28 seconds per year, 2 minutes and 16 seconds of downtime per month. I used to work at one of the largest credit card industries, and we were bound by the 5 nines, and we went through so much effort to create tables and to create a not null field. Now EBR changes a lot of that, but back then we spent literally 20-30 hours to add a not null column. And so there's with all the innovations within Oracle, this is very achievable. All right, so hybrid column, I'm on number 2 at 10 minutes. So cloud journey perspective, more and more CEOs and CIOs when they want out of the data center business, and that's rightfully so. They need to focus on their business versus focusing on technology. And so hybrid cloud is still 3 to 5 years. There's a lot of people, there's customers who have issues and concerns about moving everything to the cloud. And as we mature in cloud adoption, we're going to have this cloud first policy. VMware and customers who are really mature in the virtualization space have this concept of virtualized first policy. What does that mean? Basically means that every new application is going to be going to the cloud, and you have to justify why that application cannot go to the cloud. All right, so from a common use case perspective, and these are the easiest ways to increase your adoption to the cloud. Back up your database to the cloud. RMAN has native capabilities. So as long as you pay for object storage and download the RMAN backup module from Oracle, you can back up directly to object storage, and now even to archive storage. Move your dev, queue, and test to the cloud. Another one is Data Guard. Do Data Guard to the cloud. And Oracle is making a lot of innovations in Data Guard too, because there are customers who do TDE. Because you go to cloud, everything needs to be TDE. But if you go TDE in the cloud and you're not licensed for TDE or advanced security option on premise, how do you come back? And so they were talking about that in OCW as well. Obviously, migration of on-premise apps, PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, and eBusiness Suite. Now, PeopleSoft and eBusiness Suite, Oracle has a lot of tooling that's available to make that easier. And obviously, business critical apps in the cloud. So that's the thing that goes last. People are worried about their mission critical databases. And so, but however, we can move and go truly have a journey to the cloud. All right, so from a hybrid cloud perspective, we will eventually get to the point where cloud first policy is going to be prevalent across all the industries. And as you go to or think about hybrid cloud, there's also considerations that you have to make. And so cloud adjacency is a big one. And so there's a company called Equinix. They allow, they have data centers close to all the major Oracle Cloud data centers. And so with Equinix, you can put your database servers right next to OCI, drop a 10 gig connection or even multiple 10 gig connection with OCI to it. And the most popular use case are for cloud customers, Spark customers. Spark, there is no such thing as Spark Cloud anymore. It was available in Gen 1, but Oracle got rid of that. And so if you're a heavy Spark customer and you need to go and move to the cloud, you can move to Equinix for most everything and slowly move to autonomous and DB cloud services in OCI. So remember, cloud is a journey, and we need to invest in the right cloud. You got to know your licensing implications, because a lot of customers want to go to most shops. If you look at it, they are heavily into AWS, or if they're a Microsoft shop, they're heavily into Azure. But however, if you have a big Oracle database workload, most likely you're going to benefit most by going to OCI. And so know your licensing implications with different clouds. Know what the license implications are for BYOL. Security is always a concern as you go to the cloud. Look at not only encrypted backups, but encrypted data at rest, but most importantly, data in motion. So we do TLS communications between the app servers to the database server, and look at your total cost of ownership. Now, cloud changed a lot. I mean, the pandemic changed a lot of that. Prior to COVID, we used to always look at 4 to 5 year TCOs to the total cost of ownership to go to the cloud versus staying on premise. With customers struggling with revenue generation, some of those are, a lot of customers are, I need to survive this year. And so it changes some of that. And obviously, when we're talking about cloud bursting, those means that the ability in the cloud, you only pay for what you use. And so if you look at a typical retail business, they might only need 20, 30% of what they're allocated. But however, because they have to provision for now, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year, they're looking, they're over provisioned because they need to be able to, accommodate the workload during the holidays. And so if you're in the cloud and you are, like, for example, a retail customer, that's really the best value because you only pay for what you use. So the other 10 months or other 9 months, you're looking at 30% of your cost, and then you burst, and then you go back down after the holidays, right? So talked about backup to the cloud. Or what Oracle does is it treats the object storage as tape. And so you can do object storage or archive storage. Object storage, think of it like your, like USB drive, and archive storage is your tape. And so Commvault and other backup service, other storage backups has, a screen you can go in, you could provision and say, I need this to go to OCI, and then automatically Commvault will replicate that. Oracle has one called the storage gateway. This is the RMAN configuration I was telling you about. RMAN only does encrypted backups. You can do optional compression, user backup, and backup to their cloud. The storage gateway I was telling you about basically is a Docker image, and you actually put it on premise, and with Cloud Sync, it will automatically replicate that to the cloud. So I'm going to go as fast as I can here. From an SMB perspective, cloud is ideal. In the SMB world, we call it born in the cloud. It's typical for all SMB customers because they use Office 365, they use Great Plains, QuickBooks Online, and all new applications are built in the cloud. DBCS is popular for SMB because of the cost, but the shapes are quite smaller. And so the largest DBCS shape is 24 cores and 320 gigs. Obviously, if you do a 2-node rack, you get 2 of these. Anything beyond this, you go to either autonomous or you go to Exadata Cloud Service. Our go-to-market is Apex with multiple orgs as a cluster, or using Apex Cloud Service, and the backend being autonomous. There is a growing demand for DBAs. We need DBAs more than ever. And because our skill sets are changing. So should a DBA know how to design networks? Should a DBA know what a VCN is? Should a DBA know what a peering gateway is, or how to configure load balancers? And I have, within this viscosity, we have some of the ACEs, they know this stuff backwards and forwards. And some of the other DBAs, they would rather focus more on the performance tuning side. And we have another group of guys that wants to focus more on security in the cloud. So it really depends. But however, in the world of autonomous, the DBA role is definitely different. Okay, like I said before, with complexity of IT, and our data is growing at volumes more than ever. And so COVID economy changes a lot of things. Niche database needs will never go away. Okay, impact from the from the pandemic and the war and the inflation and the global economics changes how we think about cloud adoption, because we have customers who are thriving, but at the same time, we have customers who are hurting. And so during COVID, our biggest thing was who's going to rack and stack during COVID? Now we're not going to have that issue, but now it's more of the delays in hardware. Until recently, to get a ZFS storage appliance, it was literally, we had to wait 120 business days. All right. And so for customers who are struggling, the 4-year TCO does not matter. They want to save money now. And they want to save, and be able to worry about the next few months. Security is still a big concern. It's probably the #1 thing out there. Ransomware is at an all-time high. We, from a viscosity perspective, our data compliance and data privacy audits are getting bigger and bigger every month. Gartner says that by 2025, 51% of all IT spending is going to be it's going to shift to the public cloud versus 41% in 2022. And we've accelerated in the past 2 years because of COVID. NASDAQ, prior to COVID, was thinking about, they were just dabbling. Now they're going to move all 28 of their markets to the cloud. McKinsey gives, lots of recommendations to all their customers, especially C-levels. And one of the key things that they're saying is that HR compensation for talent needs to be really a big focus. Because, and Gartner is saying this too, is that the cloud adoption is actually going to be slowed down because the number of the talented people are not going to be available. All right, so let me go to Microsoft partnership real quick. 82% of large companies use multiple clouds, 27% increase from the last year. And Oracle just did a presentation this past week saying that the multi-cloud is the new norm. Now within Azure, we have this Oracle database service for Azure. So within Azure, I can provision Oracle databases from Azure. And within Azure, I have the same look and feel, single pane of glass to provision not only Azure, but also OCI. And look at the latency, less than 2 millisecond latency. And as I said before, MySQL HeatWave for Azure is coming. It's already available on AWS. They said that they had enormous amount of success. They're adding more regions. OCI Azure Interconnect in 12 regions. But the key thing for us in the United States is that now I can go from Ashburn to Phoenix. Whereas before a few months ago, I had to go to San Jose to stay within the United States. And now this is going to really change cloud adoption as well. We actually have few customers that were actually waiting for this. Look at this. 76% of the companies are adopting multiple clouds. In fact, the average is 2.3. Okay, lastly, let's look at number 5. Gartner recommends OCI, but they also say that we don't have enough talent, and this is going to slow down cloud adoption. Right, so in 2016, when Gartner rated OCI, Oracle scored a 38. In 2019, between 2019 and 2020, when they scored Oracle again, it got a 62 out of 100. And so in 2020, they said OCI meets the typical enterprise expectations. And Gartner now recommends OCI. Okay, so within 2016, basically this is Gen 1 and Gen 2, right? Oracle went up 24 points. And at the end of 2021, they went from 62 to a 78. Now, Oracle is a niche player in the Magic Quadrant and focused on high performance computing and lift and shift and any kind of database workloads is a recommendation for OCI. Now in the SaaS world, Oracle dominates. Look at the Oracle Fusion. Look at NetSuite. And so they're on the same quadrant. And in fact, in terms of SaaS, I think I heard that they expect this to be a $30 billion revenue in the next 5 years or something like that. It's huge. And so also from a peer review perspective, their ratings are getting higher and higher each year. And then I know I'm over, so I want to go and look at the questions again. Oh, all the questions are answered. Before I conclude, do we have any more questions? Sorry that I ran a little bit long, but thank you everybody for attending.
Thank you so much, Charles. Oh, just a thank you from Ned. If you have any other questions, you can go ahead and put them in while I talk. I'm just going to remind you guys of a few things. But thank you so much, Charles, for giving us that time and all that information. I know that was a lot of information for everyone, so don't forget that we will post all of this stuff and you will be able to revisit it. Charles, looks like we've got a question.
Yeah, in fact, that's I actually talk about this quite a bit. I have CIO friends. The CIOs that are successful are the ones that know their business, but there aren't that many of them. And so a lot of the CIOs focus on technology, and the ones that can traverse between technology and be able to correlate that into business terms are the ones that are successful. In fact, if you look at it now, in IT, CIOs have, I don't want to say failed, but if you look at a lot of the industries now, CIOs report to the CFOs. Back 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when 30 years ago when I started this industry, CIOs ruled. But now CIOs, it's very common for CIOs to report to CFOs, and CFOs control all the purse strings for any project now. And when the CIOs can talk the business talk and talk at the data level, they're the ones that are really successful. All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. And guys, if you have questions kind of like this, like how to approach your management, how to approach, other folks in your org that might not be as technically versed, our team can actually help you. We can give you some verbiage to kind of help that conversation along. If you've seen something that you feel like your organization can benefit from and you're not really sure how to move that needle, reach out to us. We can give you some pointers. We can give you some documentation, whatever you think you need. Charles, I've got another question for you. And if people are willing to stay online, feel free to answer that. Anyone who needs to log off, you will be able to refer back to this video.
Yeah. And so I'll answer that verbally versus over text. Is that the question is, how do I migrate a 19C 150 terabyte database from HPUX to Red Hat? It's actually a pretty simple migration because unfortunately you do have to go through a transportable table space migration, TTS, what we call it. And so it is a backup, but during the restore, you flip endianness. So we're going from a big endian, and it's ENDIAN endianness, to a little endian. And so as part of the restore, we go and flip the endianness, and we do a metadata import. Basically tells Oracle, these are the objects that needs to go into the dictionary. And so we have done a lot of big endian to little endian migrations, and even zero downtime, even leveraging technologies like SharePlex and Golden Gate. And so it's more that than anything else. And then the application has to, point to the new database on Red Hat. But it's something that we do on a regular basis.
Thank you so much for that question, Edmund. All right. I think if that is it, this is probably a good time to wrap up. Charles, thanks for staying on past noon for us. NYOUG, always thank you for your support and co-hosting. Coleman, thank you so much again. And everyone, if you are a NYOUG member, you can go check out their website as well. Actually, maybe it's free for everybody, but they've got recordings as well from all of their webinars, whether they're with or without viscosity. And again, orapub.com. You actually have to go to www.orapub.com for access to our recordings and slide decks. I, Monica Lee, or my colleague, Jason Wipaki, will reach out to you for any further questions. Again, if you've got questions, we can try to find the answers for you. Jason, my colleague, he actually came out of Oracle licensing. He has a decent amount of, excuse me, of experience with Oracle Cloud licensing specifically. So he can also help get conversations going and connect you to Charles, who is always down to help our potential clients, folks just needing to be pointed in the right direction. And as I said earlier, even if you're just looking for a way to bring this up at your organization. So thank you all so much. I hope you guys have a great week and look for some emails from us. I'm hoping about this time tomorrow or by end of day tomorrow, we'll have the recording up for you. All right, take care. And thanks again to everybody for attending, to our speaker, Charles Kim, and to NYOUG. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.